Hello everyone, my name is Nitin. I take SAP Hybris online trainings. This is a brief about myself. nitin.hybris@gmail.com. This is my email ID. You can reach out to me over this email in case you have any questions, concerns related to this topic or related to any other topic which we have covered into the past. Now the topic which we will be covering today is the SAP Commerce Process Engine, or you can say business processes into SAP Hybris. So these are the topics which we will be covering today. So the first topic which we will cover is the what is the SAP Commerce Process Engine. Then we'll talk about certain examples of business processes which are present out of the box. Then we'll talk about the process definition, right? What is the process definition, how we can create the process definition. Then we will see what are actions into business processes, and we will see how we can create those actions for our business process. Then we will see how we can create and start a business process. And in this topic, I will be showing you how we can create our own custom business process from start to end. Then we will be creating certain actions for our custom business process, and there are other topics also which we will be covering into this topic. Then we will see how we can test the business process. So we will be running our business process and we'll be going to the back office and checking from where we can check our business process and how it looks like when it executes and what are the states it is having. Then in the end, I will give you some tips from my end which will help you explore more on this particular topic. Let's move to our first slide. So the first slide talk about the SAP Commerce Process Engine. I have categorized it into 3 points. So the first point is definition and the execution. So the business process engine that is responsible for defining the business process using XML, right? So it allows us to define the business processes using the XML format, and it executes them asynchronously. And by asynchronously I mean they will run on the background mode. Second is order of the actions and conditions. What does this mean is that the actions which we will be defining into our business process will be running into a order, right? Into a correct order. So that is ensured by the SAP Commerce Process Engine only, and they run under certain conditions. So there are certain conditions which we will be putting into our actions. Based upon those, the next action will be triggering. Third is the event handling. So this particular SAP Commerce Process Engine, it handles the waiting of events, the user notifications, and the executing actions from Spring Beans. So it allows us to create the actions, the Java classes, and define its its Spring Beans, and making the flow decisions based on the action outcomes. So the first action will and its outcome will define the execution of the next action. It's like that. So action 1, based upon certain condition, it will see whether it needs to run to action 2 or maybe some other action. So this kind of event handling is handled by the SAP Commerce Process Engine. So these are the 3 definitions which will summarize your SAP Commerce Process Engine. Let's move to the next slide. So the next slide shows a visual representation of the points which we have discussed here. So if I talk about actions, so there is one action, right? And based upon certain condition, we will see whether that action is okay or not okay. So if the action is okay, we can go towards the action 2, and this action 2 can result into action 4. Or if it is not okay, we can go to some other action, and based upon that action, we can move forward. So it's nothing but you can say first action's outcome will define the next actions execution. Now let's talk about certain business process examples which are present into SAP Hybris. So the first one is emails. So all these points which I have mentioned here, these are your business processes only. So email is a business process, order processes is a business process, consignment process is also a business process, SMS approval processes, or any business process which we create custom, that is also a kind of a business process. So these are certain examples of business process. So if in your project there are certain emails which are being sent, so there are highly chances that those emails will be sending via a business process. Same goes with the order process also. If your order is getting placed, so there are a lot of actions which are being performed just after the placement of the order. So for example, you check whether your order is a fraud order or not, then you check whether the payment is being done or not, then you go then you can send that order for approval to somebody, and once he takes an action, we will fire a different event to proceed that order process, like that. So there are a lot of actions involved into order process also. So like this you can define any business process. Let's move to the next slide. Next slide talks about the process definition. So what is the process definition? The process definition defines a set of nodes that relate to each other through their IDs. So in short, it is the definition of your business process. So there is an XML file which you create where you mention that this is my business process, and this is the starting point of my business process, and this is the name of my business process. We will be creating a process definition by ourselves also, but for the time being, just understand that it is an XML file which we will define to show the system that okay, this is my business process structure, and from this particular point it starts, and this is the name of it, here it ends, and these are the actions, something like that. And it needs to be declared as a Spring resource so that it can be visible to process definition. So once you create a process XML file, or you can say process definition, then you need to tell the process definition factory that this is my XML which I have created for this business process. So whenever I start or run my business process, kindly call this particular XML file. Let's move to next slide. Okay, so now we'll see how we can create a process definition. So process definition creation is very simple. You can say first what we need to do is we need to create a process XML file. So it could be an email process XML, it could be an order process XML, consignment process XML, XYZ, any kind of process XML you can create, and you need to create it into the resource folder of your extension. So for this tutorial we will be creating it into training core extension and its resource folder. Then once that process.xml is created, we will add it to the process definition in the spring.xml file. So like training core spring.xml file, we will be creating an entry for that particular XML so that it can be picked by the process definition factory. So I'll repeat these 3 points again. First we will create the XML where we will define all the processes, all the actions, name and everything. Once that is created, we will make an entry of that process.xml file into the spring.xml file. Then once that is done, it will be recognized by the process definition factory. Let's move to our next slide. So the next slide represents the visual representation of whatever we have discussed till now. Now if you see this diagram, this is the service which is responsible for creating and starting a business process. So whatever name of the business process we have given into our process definition, we will try to create our business process model by using that same name. Once that business process model is being created by using this create process method of this service, business process service, it will return us a business process model. Once we have this business process model, we will pass the same business process model to the start process method of the same service. It will go to the process definition factory to check the XML file which we have created, and it will return us the process definition. So once we have the process definition, it will validate some context, and based upon the start action of our business process, it will go ahead and start the business process. So once it starts the business process, it goes towards the next action and then next action and so on, just like what I have showed into this slide. So once the start action is created, so it based upon certain condition, it will move to the next actions and so on. So I hope this is clear. I will just repeat again. Business process service has two methods: create process and start process. The create process gives us a model of that business process which we are trying to create. Once it is being created, we will start it, and once it is started, it will go and search for its definition. Once that definition is returned, it will just validate it and start the business process from the first action which we have mentioned into the start action of our process.xml file. I'll show you where that start action is there into the next slides. Now, what are actions? So I've been talking about actions a lot till now. So I just wanted to tell you what are actions. So actions are the most important part of this process engine. So if you create a business process.xml file, if it is not having any actions, then it is of no use. So now actions, what are actions? Those are the Java classes which holds the implementation logic for the process. So there is one, let's say action 1. Now action 1, as soon as it starts, it do some business logic and returns you whether you need to go to action 2 or action 3 or action 4 or whatever is the next step you want to perform. Now for that, what it does is it takes the input which is fed by the process engine and process it, and then returns a result. Either it can be okay or a not okay. So based upon okay you can do something, based upon not okay also you can do something. Now each business process perform a single piece of work in a business process. So it's like, so each action performs single piece of work into a business process. Now first action, it do something and it goes to the next action. So it's not like the second action will be doing the same work. Technically we will define something into the first action, and once that is done, we will move ahead towards the next action. Now here I have put a note that an action can start another business process, or you can say sub process also, by using events to inform parent process that is sub process is ended. What does that mean is, so if action 1 is started for example, and in the action 1 itself, in the business logic, you created another business process and started it. So once that business process is finished, right, at the end of that business process you will go ahead and then tell the first action that okay, the sub process is being finished. Now you can trigger either okay or not okay. So business logic can be anything, and it, as this note says, it can be a sub process also. So a business process can start another business process also. Okay, let's move to the next slide. So how do we create actions? So action creation is quite a simple process. What we need to do is we need to create a Java class for an action which will extend the abstract actions like abstract procedural action or abstract simple decision action. These two actions will provide you a method, the execute method, where we will be returning the transitions like either it is okay or not okay. Once that action is created, we will be defining the beans for that action. So you can see on the right side of this slide, so this is how a process definition look like. So this is the process definition XML, right, and this is the name of your business process, and this is the start part. So here we define the start of a business process. So this is the start, where we mention that this business process should be starting from action 1 for example. So as soon as this business process started, the action 1 will be the first action to be created. Now this is how the action look like. So this is the ID of the action and this is the bean of an action. So whatever bean we have created, we need to give it into the bean tag, and the ID could be anything, right? These are the transition, okay or not okay. So if it is okay, it will go to action 2. If it is not okay, it will go to action 3. Then let's say for example the first action was okay, so it will go to action 2, and action 2, once it executes, it can return okay for example, so it will go to action 4. Now in action 4, if it is okay, it will go to success. Now let's say if action 1 was not okay, it will go to action 3. Action 3, it will check whether it is okay or not okay, and if it is okay, it will go to action 4, like that. So simple, in simple terms, you can say action 1, whether it returns okay or not okay, will define which action to be called next. Simple. Our next slide. Yeah, so next slide talks about the business process starting. So how we can start a business process. So before starting or creating a business process, we need to identify at what place we need to do that. So there could be a number of use cases. So one of the use cases can be, for example, as soon as your order is being placed, you need to notify your customer by sending him an email. So to do that, what you need to do is you need to identify the place. For example, as soon as your order is being placed, you will fire an event, and that event will have a listener. So that listener will be responsible for creating and starting a business process. So that is the starting point of your business process, where you will create and start the business process. So once that point is identified, what we need to do is we need to create a business process model at that point by using the business process service dot create process method. This process method will give you the business process model. Now once we have the business process model, we will use the business process service dot start process method, and we will pass that business process model here, which we have created by using the create process method. So if you see this slide, which we have discussed a few minutes back, this says that business process service will use the create process method to return a business process model. That business process model will be passed to the start process method, which in turn will go to the process definition factory to get the process definition, and then so on it will start the business process. So in short, these are the two methods which will be responsible for creating and the starting of your business process. Okay, so let's start with starting our IntelliJ first. Okay, so our IntelliJ has started. Now let's keep on following these steps which I have mentioned one by one. So first of all, we need to do is we need to create a process item type in the training items.xml file, training core items.xml file by the name of my training process. So let's go ahead and open this file. So here let me create a type group first. Let's keep it training. Now here I will create the item type. So I already created the item type, so I will just copy paste this item type here. So in case you need to follow this, you just try to pause the video, and then you can see whatever is being written here, and you can follow. So once this is done, so let's try to create some attributes. I'll just copy paste from the above one. So let's make it attribute 1. Okay, make it normal string. No need to give the meta type. Okay, this is one attribute. Let's create some more. Attribute 1. So these are sample attributes which I'm creating. You can create any attributes which you want. I'm just creating it for the simplicity of understanding. Okay, so we have created a type group. We have created an item type by the name of my training process. I have given the Jalo class for that, and I have extended the business process. So why I have extended business process? So that it gives me certain out of the box model classes also which are there. So for example, if I open the business process model, so it will have certain attributes already present like code, process definition, name, version, and all those things. So these are mostly used into the business process, so that's why I have extended the business process item type. So let's go to the next step. Then the next step is the run and clean all. So for that we will go to our platform, open the cmd here, run the set and.bat command, and clean all. So it will take a few minutes to complete the and clean all. Okay, so our build is finished. Now let's go towards the next step. So the next step is creating the business process definition, right? So for that, what we need to do is we need to create this XML file into the resource folder of our training core extension. So if we go to the training core extension, in the resource folder, what we are going to do is we are going to create the process.xml file. So we already have one folder created out of the box when we install the recipe. There we will try to create a new file. Right click, new file, and this is the name of my process.xml file, my training business process.xml file. So there are two options to create this one. Either you can open any of the ones which are already being created, copy paste whatever content it is there, and you can try to write your own actions there, right? That is one thing. Second is you can start creating it from the fresh also. So for me, I have already created this one, right, which is my custom extension, sorry, my custom business process. So I'll just copy and paste it here. So in my training business process.xml file, after creating, what I have done is I have put the definition, the XML definition for this process. So I started from the process tag and give this xmlns tag, which will be going towards www.hybris.de/xsd process definition. So this particular URL and everything you will find it in out of the box itself. So there is nothing into this one, nothing new. Now the main point of focus is this one. So here if you notice, I have given the start tag and and I have given some value here for my start tag. The next tag is name, where also I have given some value, and then the process class. So this process class, if you have noticed, this is nothing but the model which is being created from our item.xml. So this is the my training process model which is being created by our item.xml. So once we do end clean all, this model will get created, and the same model we will give into our business process XML file also. So go to that model, double click on this one, right click, copy reference, and give it into your process class. So this process class will hold the model of your business process which you have created. Now here you can use the out of the box also, you can use your newly created one also. Okay, so it depends like what kind of business process you are creating. Now this is the name of my business process which I have kept, my training business process definition name. So you can keep any name here. I have kept it like this, and then in the start tag the value which I have given is the first action of my business process. So as soon as my this definition gets started, this will go and search for this one action. This is the action which I have given, so it will go to this action and will start the business process from this particular action. Now the next part I have done is I have created certain actions. So if you have noticed here, this is my first action, second action, third action, fourth action, like this. So I have created 4 actions. For first action, what I have done is if my first action gives me an OK, I'll go to the second action. If it gives me a not OK, then I'll go to the error. Now error is nothing but the end of my business process. So there are 3 tags which I have created, the end tags, which could be either error, failed, or success. Error, if there is any exception occurs in any of those business processes, it will go to the error. And for that I need to tell them that you need to go to error only if not OK is there. Then failed, if your business process failed by any node, it will get failed. So I have given failed here just to show you guys that in the fourth action, if my fourth action is not okay, it will go to the failed action and it will go to this node. Then the success. So success is usually it's the last action, or you can say some only one action which will go towards the success of our business process. So in short, what I will do is as soon as my business process definition gets loaded, it will go and try to search for this start method, the start action, and it will go towards the model, this process business process model, and start it. So as soon as it is started, it will go and do some business logic, and based upon that I will return action transition as okay or not okay, right? And based upon okay and not okay, it will search for the next node, second action, third action, fourth action, whatever it is. So I have kept it like this. So if you have noticed, for first step we'll go to second action. In the second action, for okay I will be going to third action, for not okay I will go to the fourth action. For third action, on okay I will go to success, on not okay I will go to error. For fourth action I will go to success if it is okay, if it is not okay I will go to failed. So just for making you guys understand, I have kept it like this. Your business scenario could be different, right? So you need to model your business process depending upon your business requirement, but for simplicity purpose I have kept it as this, just to make you guys understand. So once this business process XML is being created, let's go to the next step. So we have created the business process XML, and then it says add this definition to the training core spring.xml file. So in our second or third slide we have mentioned this one, that once you create the process definition, you need to tell the process definition factory that this is my business process XML which you need to execute. So for that you will go to the training core spring.xml file, training core spring.xml file. Oh, sorry, I missed a G here. Yeah. So this is my training core spring.xml file. So there are already out of the box process definitions which are there, which we will find already created. So you can take an example from there also. So if you go to process definitions here, so there are certain processes which are already being defined, so you can use these, or you can create your own just by copy and pasting here and just give the values which you will be using. So I have already prepared one, so I have mentioned it into this slide also. So this is the bean which I have created already. I'll go here and paste it under this. So let's see what we have written. So we have created a bean, given an ID for that bean. So this could be any ID. For the time being I have given as my training business process definition resource, where I will be giving the class. So this is the out of the box process definition resource, so you don't need to change anything here. In the property of the resource I will give the path of my training business process XML file. So the XML file which we have created, we need to give the path for this one. So if you see here, so the path for this one is this here. So I'll just show you for the timing. Training course process my training business process.xml. Okay, so training core processes my business process.xml file. So if you need to just cross verify it, select it and press a double shift. So it should go to your business process XML file, which it is going. So that means this is correct. So this is the next step which we have completed. Now let's go to the next step. So the next action is creating the action classes for the actions, for all the actions, and write the business logic by extending abstract simple decision and your process model. Your process model is nothing but the business process model which you have created in your item.xml file. You just need to give the model for that. So for that what we need to do is we need to go to the src folder here, where we write all the Java code usually. So here if actions, yeah, so actions folder is already being created out of the box. If it is not created you can create it, but since we are following this tutorial, so we will get this being created already. Now here we just need to create a Java class. So this Java class this Java class should be relevant to the actions which you have here. So if I go to this one, so this should be my Java class technically. So I'll go to here, create Java class, and just put the capital letter here. Okay, so since this folder was created like this, my class is being created into action.code class, So I'll just try to move it into the actions class. So I'll just refactor it and move class to actions. Yeah. So if you go here, you will see these action class getting created. So this is first part. Second is extending it. So extending it with the abstract simple decision action. So as soon as I extend it, it will ask me for importing this class first. As soon as I import, it will ask me to implement the methods which are there into this abstract class. So as I click on the implement method, so first I need to hover on this one, and then so I'll show you. So first I'll hover on this one, it will ask me to implement. I'll click on implement method and click on execute. Yeah, so once this is being done, so as I said into my previous slides also, one execute action method will be overridden, which is present into this action abstract simple decision action class. Okay, now here to return, so if you see the return type of this execute action, it is transition. Now transition takes these values, okay, not okay, and you can put other values also by overriding this class, but for the time being we will see the okay and not okay. So we need to return any of those transaction into this action. Okay, so let's go to my action class. So I have already created the method. I will be using this one. Yeah. So here in the model I need to pass this model, and if you have noticed here in the parameter I need to give this model which I have created. So my model is my training process model, which I'll give here. Okay, now so I have written it like this: if true then return this, if false then return this one. Okay, so which means is what it is giving. Oh, I missed one bracket actually, so that's what's giving an error. Yeah, so if you see here I have written some condition here. So what I will be doing is I will put some condition here to return okay or not okay. So if you have noticed, we have created three attributes here into our process model: attribute 1, 2, 3. Let's play around those attributes and try to add some values. Let's try to check some values here. So process, let me make it process model by the same name here. So let's try to get those values and check. So let's say if I check here, if my attribute 1 is equals to my attribute 2, that value of my attribute 1, if it is equal to my attribute 2 value, then I will return okay, otherwise I will return not okay, just for the sake of returning okay and not okay. And I'll put a null check also, null not equal to dot get attribute 1, so that it doesn't throw a null pointer, and null not equal to dot get. Okay, so just to simplify this one, what I have done is I have checked the null pointers for these two attributes these two objects which I will be using here to compare. Fine, so this is one of the actions which I have created. Let's create other actions also. So let's copy this class itself and keep on pasting here. So this will be my second action. So for second action, sorry, I'll just skip it just to show you guys. So now what I have done is I've created one action and I have mentioned it here, right? Now let's create the second Java class for the action. So this is my second action. So again, I'll just copy it, paste it here. So just to show you guys, I have skipped that part. So again, I'll just copying and pasting it. So this is my second action. Third action. Let's create the fourth action also. And there is no rule that we have to have 4 actions or 3 actions or 2 actions. At least we should have at least 1 or 2 actions, just to make sure that we are we are returning the second action depending upon the first action. So let's say on the second action we need to write some code. So in the starting one I have checked 1 and 2. Let's check 2 and 3 here. If those are equal, we'll return okay. For the third action, let's check first and third. Third, I think I missed putting 3 here. Okay, and the fourth one, let's check second and third. So these are nothing but conditions, so it could be any business logic. For the timing, just for simplicity, I'm just trying to show you guys that based upon certain conditions we can return okay or not okay, and those conditions can be anything. So second and third I have checked here also, I have checked on fourth also. Anyway, it doesn't matter actually, whatever values we want to check we can check. So we have created the Java classes, okay, for this one: starting business process, second action, third action, and fourth action, and so on. So we have created all the action files. Now we need to add these to our the Spring file also. So for that what we need to do is we need to go to the training Spring XML again. So what we can do, we can use any of the actions which are they already being created out of the box one, right? And we can copy paste and put our action. That is one thing. Second is that I have already created the bean definitions, so you guys can leverage that part and just copy and paste those there. So I'll just put it into the end for simplicity sake only. Okay, what I have done is I have created the bean for the first action, which is my starting step of my business process. This is one of the action. So if you have noticed, this bean id should be exactly same which we will be using here in my bean. So if this bean id is different and this bean id is different, you will get an error. So better not to do that mistake. So starting of my business process, I have created, I have given the class. So if I press control and hover on this one, it should go to my starting action of the class. Similarly, I have extended the abstract action class here. Second action, third action, fourth action, we have created all the actions here and given the class path for all of them. So this is also done. So this was our next step. So we have created the Java classes and added the bean definitions for this. Now next is we need to create the trigger for our business process. So till now what we have done is we have created our definition.xml, we have defined the actions, beans and everything. Now what we need to do is we need to find a place where we need to trigger this particular business process. So if you have seen this lecture where I have put this point, choose the place where you want to create and start your business process. So we reach to that point now. So to choose the trigger point, there are different use cases as I said before. So for this tutorial, just for to save time and for simplicity purpose only, what I will be doing is I will be using the cron job. What we say, we will leverage the cron job to trigger our business process. We can create an event, we can create a listener for that, and then also we can do it and fire that event. That is one thing. Second is we can use any of the custom method also. So like if I have created a method, I can use the same logic there also to start my business process. But for the timing I will be using the cron job one because that is the shortest one without doing any extra coding into some creating a cron job and making this tutorial complex. We will go ahead with the cron job part. So for that I have identified any of the out of the box cron job which is already being created. So for example, the cleanup fraud job. So if I go here and search for this job, it is already being created. I don't need to do anything. What I will do is I will comment out whatever being written into this file till here, or you can, if you want, you can delete it also and write my logic here. Why I'm writing this logic here is because I need to start my business process onto a certain trigger point. So I identified this cron job, or I will write my business logic here and run this cron job so that I can start my business process. Okay, so to do that what we need to do is we need to create the business process and start it. Okay, So this is the code which we need to write. Just import this here. Okay, so if I need to explain this one to you, so what I have done is I have created an object of my business, my training process model, which we have created via using the item.xml file. Once that is done, we will call the business process service. Now this business process service is already being defined into this cron job, so that's why I have used it. If not, you can create the object for business process service and call the create process method. So once you use the create process method, what it will do is it will take the argument as first is the name or the ID of your business process. So it will take for example my training process XYZ ABC, whatever you want to put here, just keep it relevant. Whatever ID you will give here, that will be shown at the time of your business process creation. And the second parameter will be the name of the definition which you have given. So if you open your XML file, the business process XML which you have created, here we have given the name. So this is nothing but your definition name. So by this name only you will start your business process. See, so as soon as once you try to create a business process, you need to return the business process model, call the business process service, then call the create process method, pass the name or the ID of the business process which you want to create, and add the business process definition into the second parameter. So here I have used this system.current millisecond. So why I have used it? Because every time you will try to create a business process, it should be having a unique ID. So since I cannot define some same ID for my every business process, what I've done is I have introduced the current milliseconds here. So this will at least give me a random number here, and then the training process will be appended to it. So my ID will look like something like this, like this, 1 2 3 4, whatever random number it is. So it will be like this. So every time it will be unique. So that's why I have kept it like this. You can keep any random generator, number generator, or whatever you want, but for the time being I have kept it like this. So as soon as I create the business process, uh, let me go to the slide again just to make it clear. As soon as I use the create process method, it should return me a business process model. Now, if you noticed here, it has returned me a business process model, which is my business process model which we created, or you can say our business process model which we have created. It extends the business process model only. So in short, we have our business process model created by using the create process method. Once that is being created, we will fill the relevant data to it. So here also I have put this one, that once you create the business process, you need to put the relevant data to it if needed. So for the timing, I have created 3 attributes. So those 3 attributes I have populated here. Then once I have populated these values, I have saved it here, right? So that it can be used, it can be saved to the database, and it can be used to the next step or next action. Because if you have noticed, we have created our actions where we have used these values, attribute 2 3 and all those things. So I have kept it as ABC here for the timing. Then once I have saved my business process model, I will use the same service and the start process method. So let's go back to the diagram again. So create process is being done. Now we need to start the business process. As soon as I start the business process, it will take the argument as the business process model. As soon as I start it, it will go to this business process model and try to search for this definition. As soon as it finds this definition here, it will go ahead and start the first step of the business process if everything goes well. So let's say it started the business process, it will come to this bean first. Here it will go here, it will check certain conditions, and depending on those, it will return okay or not okay. If it returns okay, it will go to the second action and third action and fourth action, so on. So let's go to our steps. Yeah, so we'll comment the code in it and we'll put our own business process logic, which we have done here. So we have comment out all the code which was there into the perform method of this cron job, and we have just simply put our business process code here. Now the next step is start and all server start and system update. So the next step is and all server start and platform update. So what we will do, we'll go here, and since we have done and clean all already, we will not do it again. We'll go to the end all and start our server into the debug mode. Once our server is started, we will run the platform update. So let's wait for this build and server to start, and we'll join back. Okay, so our server has started, right? Now the next step is running the cron job. So we have almost reached to the last step. So let's open our back office. Sorry, I forget to run the system update. So let's go to HSE first. Go to platform, update, and check all the boxes apart from the update running system, and click on update. So why we are doing the update is, since we have done the item.xml changes here, we have created our own new model, so we need to run the update system so that the database is being updated with the new model changes. So we'll wait for this to finish. It will take around 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so update has finished in 2 minutes. Now let's go to back office and log in. It will take few minutes to log in for the first time. Okay, so we have logged in into the back office. So before starting the cron job, I will just show where we can find the business processes. So if you search for business here, business processes, you will see this node already being created out of the box. Just click on this one and you will see that what are the business processes created. So till now, since we have a fresh setup, there are no business processes being created. Now let's go to our cron job. So we'll search for cron here and we'll go to the cron jobs, and now we will search for the cron job which we have overridden. So our cron job name is something like cleanup fraud auto job here. So I'll just open this one here. So I have found this. So it doesn't matter what was its old status or whatever it is. Since we have written our fresh logic, we will run it and we'll see our business process. So let's run it plain for the timing, and in the next run we will do a debug for this one. So as soon as I start it here, click on yes. So I refreshed it and the result is success and it is finished. Now let's go back to the business process again, business processes tab, and we'll see if our business process is created or not. Yeah, so I have our business process is being created. So this was the business process. Currently it is showing the end message as something went wrong here, right? And there are these attributes which we have saved, attribute 1, 2, 3 as A, B and C, right? The state is error, right? And I'll show you why it is in error right now. And this is the business process. code which I was talking about. So it will be like my training process hyphen, this is the current milliseconds at the time when this was running. So now let's validate this with our process.xml first here. So since it is in error, this is the message which it should be showing at the time of error. Something went wrong. So if you see here, something went wrong is the error message which it is showing. Its state should be in error here. So it is in error. Now these are the attributes which are already being saved, and yeah, here if you see, it failed into the first step itself. My training process dot task log, here you can see what all steps are being followed, and by steps I mean actions. So it failed into the first action. So this is a pretty much a view of the business process which we have recently created. Now let's go back to our cron job again, and let's find out why it is in error state. So let me open the job again, and this time I'll put a debug here, debug in all the places of my business process. So this is my starting point, and let's go to my first action. This is my first action, this is my second action, third action. So why I'm putting the debug points, so that I can show you how the flow is going ahead with the first, second, third, fourth action, and how the business process is proceeding. So I put the debug points. I'll start the debug. Yeah. Now let's run the cron job again. Here we have started the cron job. So as soon as we have started, our debug point stopped here. Now let's try to go ahead and check what is being created. So this is our training process model which is being created. Its code is training process hyphen 167 something, some random number. Okay, so it's good. Now let's set the first attribute, which is a, b, and c. Again we'll check if all the values are there or not. So I'll do get attribute 1, which is a. If I do get attribute 2, it is b, and for 3 it is c. Fine. So these three values are set, and if you want to know how I am using these shortcuts and the evaluation and everything in IntelliJ, then for that you can just see my IntelliJ video also, which I have created long time back. You can use those videos to check what shortcuts and how I'm trying to debug and everything, whatever I'm doing in IntelliJ, how I'm doing it. You can see into that video. I'll give it into the description also, and you can search it by my name also, or you can go to my channel and search it there also. Fine. So now the next step is saving the business process. So let's move ahead of this one. So now these values which we have set above are being saved to the database. A, B, C are saved to the database. Now we'll start the business process. So in the starting I have explained you that the business process runs asynchronously. So by asynchronously means it will not wait for this business process to be finished properly to go to the next step. So as soon as I clicked on the next step, whether my business process started, finished or not, it doesn't matter. It went to the next line and came out. Now it will start in the background and go to the first step. See here. So it came automatically to our first step of our process.xml file. Again I'll just show you. Yeah, so since this was my start, it came to this action first. So let's go here. Now it will return okay only if these conditions are met, right? So if this is true, then it will go inside this one, otherwise it will return not okay. So let's evaluate these conditions once, if it is okay or not okay. So if you see here, this condition is false. Why it is false? Because my first attribute, which is the attribute 1, is a, right, and my second attribute is b. So these are not equal, so hence it gave me a false condition and it did not go into this one. Fine. what I will do is I will try to go into the OK one by changing the values. So since I need to go to the second action, I will try to make this as true. So how I can do it, since my attribute 1 is A, I'll set my attribute 2 as A also. Set attribute 2 as A, and this is I'm just doing so that I can get a true here. So I'll, since I set the value here, so I went into this loop since I make both the values same, although I did not save it to the database, but I for the time being I just made it as true so that I go to this step. As soon as I go out of this one, it will go towards the next action on OK. So next action on OK is second action. Okay, so let's see where the debug will stop. I came out and now it reached to second action here, as we anticipated that it will go to the second action. Now in second action, whether it is okay or not okay, it will go to third or fourth action. Now let's see. So if I evaluate this condition in my second action, it will turn out to be false. See, so it will go to not okay. Now since it will go to not okay, it should go to the fourth action. Now let's go to the next step. Here it will come out, so it did not reach to the okay, it went to the not okay. So if it would have been okay, it will go to third step, third action, or it will, if since it is not okay this time, so it will go to fourth action. So let's see where the debug will stop. Yeah, it stopped at fourth action. Why? Because in the second action at the not okay point we have given fourth action, so it came to fourth action. Now in fourth action also what we have put, if it is okay it will be success, otherwise it will go to failed. So let me again try to make this as true so that it goes towards the success thing. So for that these two attributes should be equal. So since my attribute 2 is B and this is C, I believe, here I'll just try to make this as B so that it goes inside this loop. And this is I'm just doing to show you guys that how okay and not okay works. So earlier we have seen not okay, in not okay it went to the error and all those things. Now since I kept it as okay, it will go towards the success. So success is the node, this is the end node here. So let's go to our business process again now here. So let's see the second business process which would have been created. It should be in success as per the logic which we have implemented here. So this is the second business process which is being created. The first one was in error. The second one, since we manipulated some conditions and try to make it as success, here we have business process execution success, which is the success message. Here we can put any message which you want. Then this is the code, right? And this is the state of my business process. These are the attributes A, B and C. So in the third attribute it's B here because I manipulated it in the end. Okay, so now this is done. Now let's go to the actions here. So in the first tab of process properties, you'll see what all actions are executed. So at the start it was the starting of my business process. This was my first action and the return code for this was okay here, and there is some messages also which gets printed here. So let's see what message it printed. So it printed some log. So if you give some logs there into your actions, those will be printed here. So first one returned okay, second one returned not okay, as we have seen. Since it returned not okay, it went to fourth one. In fourth one it returned okay, so that's why it went to the success one. So first, second and fourth actions got executed. Same way, if you want to try different values and different things, you can play around with the okay and not okay. So my point of explaining here is, depending upon okay and not okay and the business logic, you will go ahead with the business processes actions. Okay, so this is done. Now let's go towards the next one. So this testing, right, we have done already. So the testing of our business process, we reached to the code where we want to start the business process, which was our cron job. Here we started our business process, and we can fire an event which will start the business process. So this was another approach. So I would suggest you guys to try to create an event and a listener and try to start your business process in that listener. So I have done the cron job approach. You can do the event approach and try to fire that event by using the event service. And if you want a tutorial based upon the event, just let me know into the comments. I will put there. I'll try to create a new tutorial for you guys just to explain you the event and listener. Now let's go towards the bonus tip, which is the last slide, I would say. So the business processes can be started from any action. How? So let's say if I if my this action, right, it got failed by any chance and I want to retry it. So to retry it, I'll go to the business process which I want to check. So it could be any of the business process. As soon as I go to my business process, I will see here this button. This is the repair business process button. So as soon as I click on this one, I can choose which step I want to start again. Right, so it could be first, fourth, third, or second, whichever action I want to start. So let's say I want to execute my second action again. So as soon as I select that action, I'll click on start. It will go to my debug there. It will reach to my second action in few seconds here. So it came here. Why it came here? Because I started my business process from the second action. It will do the same thing, but it's just to explain you guys that we can run any of the business process action at any point of time. But as soon as we start it from this action or whatever action we start, it will follow the same order again. So as I mentioned into my first or second slide, that the process engine makes sure that all the actions execute into the same order. So since I started it from the second action, based upon okay not okay, it will go to the third or fourth action. So let's see. Since it is not okay, it will go to my fourth action, right? And in fourth action also, it will see okay or not okay. So since it is okay, it will go to success again. Now here, if I refresh it, yeah, it since I have started it from the second one, so second and fourth action only are created here. Okay. So this was one of the tip which I wanted to tell you guys. Second is that you can include the JavaScript also into the actions. So in the actions which we have kept a bit simple here, we can use the JavaScript also, and based upon that JavaScript also we can trigger okay or not okay, so that you can explore the SAP documentation and you can check how we can include the JavaScript there. Now in the third one, I would just like to explain the difference between the cron jobs and the business processes. So although both of them do some action in background only, the difference is that the cron jobs which are being run, those are mostly scheduled, right, and those are automated. Okay, and they do not involve any user interaction. So like if once the cron job is being started, there is no other action which will be interrupting that cron job. Now for business process, it's not the case. So those are also automated, right? Those are also run into background only, but there is manual intervention could be present into business processes. Okay, and since these business processes are running in background and require manual intervention, these are best suitable for the business scenarios where you need approvals or certain events to be executed based upon some other action. So for example, if somebody is there and who will approve your order, then only it will proceed. So you can develop a business process which will wait for that approval event. Once that approval event is fired, they they will once that approval event is fired, you will be able to receive that event on your business process and proceed to the next action. So these kind of activities you can do via business processes. Okay, so this was it on the business process. I believe you have understood the core concept of business process, why we create it, how it works, what all steps we need to follow, and whatever steps I have mentioned into my tutorial here, those are the standard steps which you need to follow for any kind of business process. So you don't need to create you don't need to follow some different steps apart from this one. So you just follow these steps, you just change the business logic into the actions. That's it, nothing else you need to do. So again, I would repeat my email id, which is nitin.hybris@gmail.com. You can reach out to me on this email ID in case you have any questions related to this topic. And in the end, I would like to say thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for being here. If you like the video, you can subscribe the channel. You can share the video among your colleagues so that they can also learn about business processes and Hybris. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.